if you mentioned this idea to me back in, let's say, 2022, 2023, I would have called you insane. Because this was absolutely not something that I ever thought we would see on our radar. Today, we're heading over to the latest in Elliotte Friedman trade updates in regards to the Buffalo Sabres and what the future may or may not have in store for one Rochester Americans goaltender, Devon Levi. Yeah, that's right. We're getting into the Levi conversation here, my friends. The reason we are talking about Levi is because, as the Elite Prospects page suggests, he is currently in the Rochester Americans organization. A guy who, at one point, was touted as the best young Buffalo Sabres goaltender in the system and one of the best young goaltenders in the NHL. There was a really big story about Devon Levi because of the 2021 World Juniors. At that time, he played for Team Canada, posted up a .964 save percentage in 7 games played, a 0.75 goals against average, and he ended up playing off against his fellow Florida Panthers prospect in Spencer Knight in the gold medal game. Knight was a first-round pick in 2019, Levi was a 7th-round pick in 2020. So, it was a really interesting story for Florida Panthers fans, like, hey, we got 2 fantastic goalies in the system, one in the 1st round, one in the 7th, they're playing off against each other, and the guy who's from the 7th round actually looks like he can hang, only to step in there and get traded to Buffalo. Because Devon Levi, he really bolstered up his value for the Florida Panthers in that World Junior Tournament. Before he started out his NCAA career, he got traded for Sam Reinhart, and it was a really good deal for Florida because, I don't know if you noticed, Sam Reinhart, one of the best players or goal scorers, defensive wingers in the league at the moment. Meanwhile, Devon Levi, newly appointed Buffalo Sabres prospect, heads over to Northeastern University in the NCAA and instantly becomes one of the best goaltenders there. A .952 save percentage in his first year in 32 games, a .154 goals against. Say what you want about Northeastern being good or bad, but Devon Levi was amazing in that spot as technically that was his first season of play, but he had a year spent already. It was kind of weird how his progression worked in the NCAA. Inevitably, Devon Levi made his Buffalo Sabres debut in 2023. Posting up a .905 save percentage in 7 games played. Unfortunately, throughout the years, he would not stick around in Buffalo as a mainstay starter. He had 23 games in 23-24, .899 save percentage, and last season he had 9 games played, with an .872. Now, Levi would be productive in the Rochester Americans AHL system in both the regular seasons and the playoffs that he had played. But this year, he is still down there, this time with an .891 save percentage in 9 games and a .296 goals against. In Buffalo, you've got Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, Colton Ellis, and Alex Lyon carrying the load. Lyon, in particular, is making save after save after save after save after save. He is one of the top goaltenders in the NHL when it comes to just saves on the year. He has been so good. Despite the fact that Buffalo themselves are not doing all too hot, Lyon's been amazing. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen's been hanging in there. And Devon Levi is down in the AHL. Which is why we dive into the reason we're making this video in the first place. Take a look at this tweet posted by NHL Rumour Report. It goes over what Elliotte Friedman said 2 days ago on 32 Thoughts. There have been some reports that Devon Levi has asked for a trade. I don't believe that. I do think the Sabres know that when they signed him, they told him there was going to be a path for him to play. It feels heavy in Buffalo right now. And that is true. Devon Levi is coming off of his ELC. This is the first year of his new contract, which sees him making $812,000 a year over the next 2 years. They signed him to a contract cheaper than his entry-level contract AAV-wise. And now he's in the AHL chillin', potentially in a spot where now he's frustrated with the way he's being developed and deployed. AKA, he's not being developed or deployed at all at the NHL level. So I say to you here, Devon Levi, a guy who had such an amazing body of work before stepping into the National Hockey League, a guy who has defied all odds, firstly as a 6 feet tall goaltender, 6'0", and as a 7th rounder by Florida, a guy who ended up getting traded for one of the best goal scorers in the Stanley Cup Playoffs the past few years in Sam Reinhart. There was never supposed to be any reason a 7th round pick could fetch that kind of value, but Devon Levi got it because he was that good. And now, he's in a vulnerable spot trade-wise. My question to Sabres fans who are watching this video is, ignore the numbers, ignore the status of how these goaltenders are playing analytically. Do you think it's worth a shot to give Levi an opportunity this season? Do you think he's already deserved it, but just hasn't been given it? And if that's the case, do you believe that any trade requests or whatever, do you think that's justified from Levi's perspective at this point in time? There are a number of ways you can attack this. Obviously, I'd say Devon Levi still does have value, so if he does get traded, I do think that there's a lot of potential in what Buffalo could get. You're turning a 7th round pick into whatever it is Devon Levi ends up becoming. I'd say that's fine. But is this more of a mismanagement situation, or is it more so, hey, Devon Levi just needs to be better, straight up. His save percentage in the AHL is not great. He wants to get an opportunity, okay. Is he in a spot where he's earned it? Or does he need to put in more work to be given that? He needs to outwork Colton Ellis and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, show that he's a better, more reliable option than those guys. Maybe start by getting a pretty good AHL record this season, and then we'll talk. Is that more the mindset that Sabres fans are feeling towards this guy after the development he went out there and displayed? Not to mention the fact that, Alexander Georgiev is also in the system too. He's also with the Rochester Americans, and to be fair, I mean, Georgiev hasn't really looked that much better. He's at an .896 save percentage with a .357 goals against, so, number of guys suiting up for the Rochester Americans. Georgiev's better, but not by much. Ultimately, though, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about this Devon Levi situation, trade request or not? Elliotte Friedman's going out there and talking about it on air. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button. If you didn't, the dislike button's down there for your 2 thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about this Devon Levi situation? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.